Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the channel. Today's video is going to be the weekly watches, or as it is this week, 2 weekly watches. This is 2 weeks worth of watches. I just wasn't up to doing a video last Sunday and I hadn't really watched much anyway, as I mentioned in the last video, so I thought I'd just save it all for this video and just make it a slightly bigger video because there's a lot more stuff that I have watched in the last week. So yeah, good mix of stuff. Been getting through my pile of stuff that I've wanted to watch this week. I'm not sure if I mentioned it. I may have mentioned it on the live stream, but I'm gonna try and to help get stuff rewatched, but also get stuff from the unwatched pile watched. Have like a movie watching theme from my collection every month. I'm taking inspiration from another YouTuber called Movies and Sue, an American lady I've been watching for a few years now. She does it every month. She sort of picks a theme out every month, which helps her watch some of her stuff as well. And I sort of just follow her theme, put some of my own stuff in there that I've picked up as well, just to get stuff down and get stuff watched. So that is what I've done so far, and I'm getting through them quite well. So there are quite a few of those ones in here, because this month she went, so I went with musical artists and films, so singers and films basically. But first up, we have one of the indicator titles that I don't believe I've actually shown in my last video because I'd watched it, so I thought I'd save it for this one so I can talk about it properly. But I know I have definitely mentioned this on a live stream, and it's a film called Winter Kills, with Jeff Bridges, John Huston, Anthony Perkins, Eli Wallach, Belinda Bauer, Ralph Meeker, Toshiro Mifune, Richard Boone. Really good cast. Written and directed by William Reichert, however you say it. There's two versions of this film you can watch. You can watch the original 1979 theatrical cut or the 1983 reissue by the director. I went for the theatrical cut to start with because that was obviously the way that everybody would have seen it when it originally came out. But I would like to go back and watch the reissue cut at some point because it's about a few minutes shorter actually. And it's only an hour and a half, this one anyway. It's a conspiracy thriller set in the 70s, follows Jeff Bridges' character, who after many years, something comes up about his brother's suicide. His brother was the president, and it's all this big conspiracy that he's sort of getting further and further into. His father's involved, played by John Huston. You got Anthony Perkins, who's got a small role in this. His character's really weird. He knows something, but he doesn't really want to tell. Eli Wallach, who was the guy that was assigned to do the assassination, along with some other assassinations. Lots of stuff going on in here. It's quite a weird, different film, but I liked it for what it was. And like I said, I'd be interested to see the differences within the reissue cut when I give it another watch at some point. So that is Winter Kills. I then followed that up with a rewatch of the first Men in Black, which was the last film that I watched before I went in for my op. So after this, it was sort of a few days before I actually felt like watching anything else. But yeah, it's been many years since I last watched this, and they are, well, the first one at least, from now I've rewatched it. It's a lot of fun. Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones, great at getting off of each other. Just an easy to watch film. Score by Danny Elfman's great. Not too long. Good sci-fi family film, which brought back quite a few memories. It's not like an amazing film, but it's very entertaining for what it is. I had a good time with it, and I'm glad to rewatch it. This will now go back into the pile because I would like to try and watch 2 and 3 before the month ends as well. Because like I said, it's been many years since I last watched them. I hear that 2's not great. I know MJ's pops up in 2, but because it's been so long, I honestly can't remember anything about it. And 3, I think, is it with Boris, Jermaine Clement's character, and he goes back to the 60s to meet a younger Kay, played by Josh Brolin. You got Emma Thompson in there. Yeah, I remember that one being quite fun. But yeah, original Men in Black, great stuff. Glad that I rewatched it. Then a few days later, once I was starting to feel better, I decided to put something on that I knew that wasn't going to require much brain power, and something that I'd seen at the cinema, but didn't really think highly of at the time. So I thought I'd give it another rewatch, see if my opinion has changed. And that's Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, sort of the film that ruined Luc Besson's American directing career. After this, he sort of went downhill. He did Anna, which I actually quite liked, and then since then he's just done lots of independent foreign release sort of films, including the new Dracula apparently. But yeah, this one is about the same from memory. I mean, I've said I'll give it another shot. It's just below average, I would say. This is the leads have absolutely no chemistry with each other, which really doesn't help. They're really miscast because they're not stars. They just feel out of place in these roles. But the supporting cast kind of saves it a bit with Clive Owen and Rihanna and Ethan Hawke popping up. John Goodman does one of the voices of the aliens as well. Always great to see or hear John Goodman. Visually, absolutely stunning film. It looks great. Cannot knock that back. There's some really good action set pieces in this, but the story itself was a bit over convoluted. Felt like it went too far. Don't really 100% get what's going on throughout the film. So yeah, I think I gave this about 2.5, 3 stars on my Letterboxd, and I said I'll give it another watch, like another 10 years down the line. If my opinion is exactly the same, then it's one I'll pass on. But you never know. I might think about it, and when I do my next sort of cull of the collection, this may be one that goes, because I'd rather watch a lot of other stuff in my collection before I go back to this one again. So that's Valerian. Sorry if I'm moving at like a million miles an hour, but there's a lot to get through, and I want to talk about them as quick as I can. Next up, a rewatch of a comfort film for me. I did actually start watching this film the day I came home from my op, but I was too tired, so I went to bed, and I actually ended up watching it in 3 parts, which I hate doing, but just had to be done at the time. And it's Rock of Ages, and I chose to watch the extended edition. I'm a big fan of like Broadway musical sort of stuff. We have like a local big theatre not far from us, and they do all like the touring versions of this sort of thing. So I've always liked this. I love 80s rock music. It is a very cheesy film, but it's got a great cast. Tom Cruise as Stacey Jack's perfect casting. He really just goes into the role, and you just really believe him in the role. Whilst they are quite controversial people, Russell Brand and Alec Baldwin are very funny in the film. They've got a very funny musical number in the film that makes me laugh every time. There's some musical numbers that don't work, such as Catherine Zeta-Jones singing Hit Me With Your Best Shot. That just comes off as really cringy, hard to watch. But it's a fun time. If you like 80s set films, it's set in LA in the 80s during the music scene. Lots of 80s rock covers in this. It's a fun film. Paul Giamatti chews up the scenery as the villain. Yeah, I recommend it if you're into like sort of your musical sort of things and you like 80s rock. Give it a go, I say. Then we have another musical. Don't know why I watched 2 musicals in a row. Didn't get on with this one the second time, and I'm actually thinking again, like Valerian, could leave my collection in the next cull, and it's The Wiz. Just too weird for me, this one. It's an adaptation of The Wizard of Oz, of course, but in the style of Motown. You've got Diana Ross playing Dorothy in this. Michael Jackson plays the Scarecrow. And lots of other people. Richard Pryor plays the Wiz. But it's just weird. It's set in New York in winter, I think on Thanksgiving, and she goes out into a storm to try and get Toto back. Ends up falling into the land of Oz. Breaks a sign on her way down, which kills the Wicked Witch of the West, is it, or whatever. And then there's a massive, like, 10-minute dance number of a song that was crap, in my opinion. Lots of that throughout the film. The best song in the film is Ease On Down the Road, which is probably the most well-known song. Whenever that pops up, that's great. They end the film with that song as well. Too long, way too long. It's like 2 hours and 9 minutes, and you feel the runtime. It definitely could have cut half an hour off in this, because there's a lot of just meandering musical numbers that go on for too long when you've already got to the point of the story. It's just a weird tone as well, just the way that the way it is. Yeah, it's not one that, it's a bit of a trip of a film, like an acid trip in a way. Not that I've ever been on one personally, but I'd imagine that's what it's like to watch this film. Considering it's a U, I'd up it to a PG, because I don't think most kids are going to get this. Yeah, that's The Wiz. Right, okay, actually, coffee break. Keep me running. I had to put a shorter film on Sunday afternoon, and this was one of the only ones from the pile that was sort of an hour and a half runtime. So I went for this, and it was awful. And that's Taxi with Jimmy Fallon, who's the most, I think I said in my review, the most unfunny schmuck I've ever had to watch on screen. And it's painful because he really does think his jokes are funny, because you can just tell that he's waiting for laughs to happen, and they're just the complete opposite. They're so unfunny. And his persona, I think Kenny said this as well, he just gives off that ick persona, just like, nah. Queen Latifah's trying to save this film. I do like Queen Latifah, was the main reason I pulled this film out to watch. But it's just made me want to go back and rewatch the original French Luc Besson films now even more, because I've heard especially that first one is great. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, just not it. Just typical early noughties, crappy Fox attempt at comedy. I said I might decase it. I'll probably just try and get rid of it, but I don't know if anyone will even want this. So yeah, that's Taxi. Then I watched an underrated film that I quite enjoyed actually, called Edison, which has an absolutely fantastic cast. You've got Morgan Freeman, LL Cool J, Justin Timberlake, Kevin Spacey, John Hurd's in here as well. Love John Hurd. Carrie Elwes pops up, Piper Paraba, is it Paraba? Dylan McDermott, Rosalind Sanchez, and it's basically a crime thriller, and it focuses on Justin Timberlake's character, who works for a small newspaper in the town of Edison. Now, his boss is played by Morgan Freeman, who is like this prestigious journalist, shall we say, who's covered a lot of things in his past. And one day Justin Timberlake sort of goes to this courtroom hearing where LL Cool J, who is a cop at this elite police task force for the city run by John Hurd's character, and he's basically testifying about something that went down in this supposed drug house where one of the individuals was killed by them, and the other one wasn't. He's basically... they're dirty, basically. That's not a spoiler. And Justin Timberlake's trying to unravel the corruption alongside the help of Morgan Freeman's character. But then something bad really happens, and it picks up pace quite a bit. Kevin Spacey's private detective gets involved, teams up with Morgan Freeman to look into it more. Yeah, really, really good for what it is. Really did have a lot of fun with this. If that sounds like your sort of thing, I'd recommend it. Once it got going, it really was quite fast-paced. Another short one, an hour and a half. So yeah, well worth the watch, I would say. Surprised me, this one, and she'll definitely be keeping hold of it. That is Edison. Then I chucked on a film called That Old Feeling, one of 2 Bette Midler films I've watched this week, and I'm actually I think I'm going to watch another one this afternoon, because I'm on a bit of a Bette Midler kick at the moment. Bette Midler and Dennis Farina in That Old Feeling, which is actually Carl Reiner's final film before he retired from directing. And it's basically set around these 2 exes, played by Midler and Farina, who are at their daughter's wedding, and she is played by Paula Marshall here. And they've not seen each other for 15 years. They've been divorced for 15 years, remarried, gone their own ways. Their paths cross at this wedding, and something, in a weird way, rekindles something within them, and they start an affair. Basically, they run off, and because she is married to this big, I think, senator's son or something, she's got to go and try and find them, to try and make sure that the paparazzi doesn't get to them and release it out in the papers and ruin her new husband's potential political career, basically. And she goes along with one of the paparazzi that's been following her mother for years, because she's a big actress and been on them for years. And he promises he's not going to do anything, he's just going to help her find her. So as you can imagine, stuff happens between them, or stuff's also happening between them, and it's just sort of that sort of thing for just over an hour and a half. Nice stuff, really. Good chemistry with each other, all of them. Really good soundtrack in this one as well. Like I said, just an easy watch, you know, nothing too special, but pleasant watch nonetheless. That is That Old Feeling. I then decided to chuck on Bad Day at Black Rock, which Roy had recommended several times and I picked up recently on Vinted. Now, this is a 1955 sort of thriller. It's not Western, although it sort of has that feeling to it because it's still at a time where some towns were as they were back in that time. But this one, you've got Spencer Tracy, who plays Macready, who is a World War II veteran, who is also a detective, I think. And he basically gets off this train in this small town. Nobody really quite sure why he's there. All the residents are a bit skeptical as to why he is there. And then he makes it known why he's there, that he's looking for a character called, I don't know if it says on here. Can't remember. He's basically looking for someone, and as soon as he says he's looking for someone, it puts everyone on high alert. There's clearly something going on, and he wants to try and get to the bottom of it. They all, most of them, I would say, slowly start to become quite hostile towards him. You got Robert Ryan in this, Ernest Borgnine, Walter Brennan, great cast. And it's directed by John Sturges, who also directed The Great Escape. And it's a really short film. It's under an hour and a half, and it's just sort of, like I said, the story of this guy trying to find out what happened to this other guy. I don't want to give it away too much because it's best to kind of go into it knowing sort of minimal stuff. But yeah, really enjoyable film. I mean, definitely doesn't overstay its runtime because it's a short one. Glad to pick it up, and it is one that I shall definitely be watching again. So thank you, Roy, for recommending that whenever you did. Yeah, it was a great watch. That is Bad Day at Black Rock. Then the last film I watched before I went back to work on Wednesday. Nice easy watch. Long overdue. A first time watch, should I say? I put on Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Now, I've said many times before, The Life of Brian is one of my favourite comedies ever. It was going to be hard for this film to top it. And it didn't top it, unfortunately. I know there's some people that like this more than Life of Brian, and some people that feel the same way as me and like Life of Brian more than this. It's still a very funny film, really good. I did enjoy it. Just not as funny as Life of Brian for me. It's not got as many lines, memorable lines in this one, obviously. There's so many memorable, quotable lines in The Life of Brian. This one just didn't have it as much. There's definitely some funny moments in here. And like I said, the Monty Python crew were pulling huge duty, playing multiple characters in this, and all of them brought something different to the film and were very funny. It looks really great for a film of its time, and it does what it needs to do. It's funny, as like I said. It's a successful film. I enjoyed it. Just it's not got that same feeling that Life of Brian has for me. But who knows, maybe on rewatches I could grow to like it all that more. Right, we've got 4 more to go. Next up, I had a rewatch of 28 Years Later from last year with Jodie Comer, Ralph Fiennes and Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Now, when I saw this at the cinema last year, I came out and I absolutely loved it. So on a rewatch, I thought, yeah, I'd feel the same, and it really just didn't hit me in the same way on a rewatch. I just didn't stick to it as much as I did on that first watch. I think it's quite a slow film, and it takes a while for anything to get going. In fact, the whole film is a bit of a nothing film. Not a lot happens. The characters in it are great. They have juicy bits to do, but for the most part, nothing really goes on in this film. It's building to something that doesn't happen in this film. There are moments in it that there are like great moments in it, but it never just gets to that point where you're like, this is a great zombie film or virus film, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, on the whole, it was a bit disappointing on a rewatch. I then did go and see the sequel that's just come out the day after. My thoughts on that will be shared on the live stream tomorrow at 7. Join us if you're free. or you can look at my Letterboxd review, because I have reviewed it on Letterboxd. But yeah, just didn't hit me the same way that it did on that first watch. Not one that I'd rush to go back to again. Again, it could have been the mood I was in when I watched it, just hit me the wrong way. But yeah, I wouldn't be in a rush to go back and revisit this one anytime soon. That is 28 years later. Next up was a rewatch of Ocean's 8. I love all of the Ocean's films. This had been a long time since I'd watched it, and it fit my criteria because Rihanna's in it. But what a cast in this. I mean, it's just got a fantastic cast, and they're just chewing up the scenery in this film, especially Sandy B and Cate Blanchett. If you've seen the Ocean's films, you sort of know what this is about. It's not as good as that I call it an original trilogy, but there was obviously the original Sinatra film. But to me, it's still the original trilogy, because there wasn't a trilogy before that, if you get what I mean. It's not up there with them, but it's still a lot of fun. I think the heist itself just doesn't have that oomph that the first three does. And it's just not got this. It's not quite got that same feeling as those three films. But the cast really helps in this film. It's a great cast. They bounce off of each other so well. There's some really funny moments in the film, and it's just an entertaining sort of watch that, yeah, I'm glad that I rewatched. And like I said, I know they're doing Ocean's 14. Supposed to be starting to film in the autumn. So hopefully maybe Sandra turns up in it, maybe Kate turns up in it. You never know. They've only confirmed a few of the original cast members for it so far. So we should just have to wait and see. But that is Ocean's 8. Next up, I chucked something on that I thought my mum would want to watch yesterday afternoon. It was a Christmas present for a film that came out last year, and first time watch of any film from this director, and it's Mike Leigh's Hard Truths. So obviously going into this, I didn't really know what to expect. I've not seen any of Mike Leigh's films before, so I don't really know what type of director he was. But I'd heard really good things about this one with Marianne Jean-Baptiste and Michelle Austin. And now I sort of know what Mike Leigh's films are. I want to see more. It's sort of a piece of sort of taking a piece of someone's life and looking into it, sort of everyday life, expanded sort of. There's no story to this really. It's all about the characters in this. But it's actually really funny. Wasn't expecting it to be as funny as it is. It follows Marianne Jean-Baptiste's character. She's absolutely awful person, miserable, rude, just has a go at everyone and anyone, just moans about everything. She lives with her husband and her young adult son, should I say. He's 22, who definitely, he's a bit of a loner himself. He's socially awkward. Makes you think, is it something to do with the way his mother is and the way he was brought up? Because you don't really know. She may not have always. I'm guessing she was not always like this, because her husband wouldn't still be with her. But it's just looking at how it's really fracturing her relationship with her family, the way that she is, the way that she behaves around people. And it kind of comes to a boiling point on Mother's Day when her and her sister go and visit her late mother's grave. And it all kind of comes to a head later when they go back to her sister's flat and all of her family are there. And yeah, it's really good stuff. I mean, again, it's a short film, an hour and a half. If you like those sorts of films, then I would definitely recommend this. It's not going to be for everyone, because I know some people go into a film and they want a big, juicy story. That's not this film. This film is just looking at these everyday people's lives and how sort of something goes on that fractures relationships, that sort of stuff. But yeah, I really had a good time with this. I believe Mike Leigh's actually got another film coming out this year, or it might be early next year now. Don't know anything about that one though. But I think the only other Mike Leigh film that I've got is Naked, which is on the BFI label. But give me some recommendations of other good Mike Leigh films, and I'll have to try and grab them. Now the last one, as if by magic, hang on a second. The last one I watched this week, which I watched last night, was Beaches, which is decased, hence I kept it in my PlayStation so I could just pull it out and show it like this. Went to plan, alright. yeah, as I said, I wanted to watch another Bette Midler film, was in a mood to watch one of her films, heard this is one of her most popular films, and I'd never seen it. Heard it's a very emotional film, so sort of went into it going, oh, I don't get emotional, that sort of thing. It's just basically the story of a friendship between two women who meet as young girls, and you see their lives as they grow up together, sort of. You got, again, John Hurd in this one, who plays Bette Midler's love interest. He's sort of the only other big name that I knew in this. And it's, yeah, just a story of friendship, a story of these girls growing up together. Obviously, you got some great songs or covers in here from Bette Midler. The ending, yeah, it did hit me, I will admit. I didn't cry. I've said this in the group, I do struggle to cry, but that doesn't mean that I don't feel emotional when I watch things that are emotional. And it was an emotional ending, although knew it was going to happen. As soon as she bloody starts singing that song, it's just like, oh, yeah, it's just one of those parts of film. It's a very famous part in films, but yeah, I really did enjoy Beaches, and I shall definitely be looking to try and get an import of this on Blu-ray at some point. So yeah, that's the last film I watched this week, which was Beaches. So that's everything I've sort of watched in the last 2 weeks. A lot there to digest. But please let me know your highlights out of that lot, the ones that you enjoyed, the ones you don't enjoy so much. Just give me your thoughts down below in the comments. Like I said, I'm back on the live streams tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. I'd imagine Kenny's joining me, possibly Andy as well. Andy usually joins me, and I think there's a few other guests that could potentially be joining me tomorrow night, but I'm not going to give them away just in case they can't make it. But yeah, join us if you've got a few minutes to spare tomorrow night. It's always fun interacting with any of you guys in the comments if you have the time to comment. But yeah, that's it for this video. If you like it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded to the channel. Comment down below anything and everything. As you know, I always take the time to get back to anyone that leaves me a comment because I really do appreciate it. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.